All right. Happy Wednesday. Let's
Hello,
get
Kyle.
to it. I know it. All right. Here's what we're not going to do. All right. We got to have a real frank discussion about what the hell happened to the Kings in Phoenix last night. And that's going to happen. We're going to talk about the collapse. We're going to talk about things they did wrong. We're going to talk about some things they did right. Da-da-da. We're not going to hit panic buttons. We're not going to ask for people to be fired. We're not going to bench anybody. We're not doing any of that. So if that's what you're looking for, sorry. If you're not looking for that and you're wanting a more kind of level-headed discussion that still provides, a critique of whatever that was in the desert.
Yes.
While also still having a little bit of optimism for the future, we're here for you. We got you. Good morning, James.
Good
Happy
morning,
Wednesday.
Kyle. Good
Thursday?
morning.
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. It's not your favorite day of the week.
It's the most Tuesday, Wednesday of all time.
It does feel weird.
Like, it feels like it should be later in the week.
We have a lot of these lately, these 4-day weeks. They're odd, Kyle. I don't know what's happening.
That's the radio thing. Starting Thanksgiving week through, really Martin Luther King Day. It is just a 4-day week. Okay, this person's off. Okay, that person's off. To make matters worse, I'm off next week.
Yeah, you're just bailing on
me. Dude, I'm getting out of Dodge.
Yeah, you're just bailing.
I'm zooming. Wait till you find out that I'm leaving the last week of the regular season too.
Oh.
I know these. Here's the problem with getting laid off. Is you're planning things out assuming that you're going to have a job.
Yes.
And so at my last job, I had all these things like planned out and mapped out where I knew like, okay, I'm solid to do this. I'm solid to go here. I'm solid to go here. And then you get a new job and it makes it look like, wow, that guy leaves a lot.
Yeah.
Like, well, sorry. And this vacation coming up, it got pushed back. We were supposed to go to Maui, but of course there are the devastating fires down there. So we had to move some things around and push some things back. And obviously we're no longer going to go visit Maui. So we're doing something else. So anyways, that's also happening. So yeah, weird week. And maybe that's what's going on with the Kings right now.
Maybe it's just it's a little strange. Like, look,
strange stretch, man.
These dips in the season happen. They happen all the time. And I could make the argument that the Kings have never really had the natural progression of a season. Like what we've seen so far from them, the disjointed look that we've seen from start to finish is something that is an anomaly in NBA circles. Like you have good teams that win a bunch of games and then lose every once in a while by lopsided margins.
Sure.
You have bad teams that lose by lopsided margins all the time and can't figure out. But there's usually a very natural progression. The first couple of weeks of the season, you want your team to learn how to compete.
Sure.
Whether they're good or bad. Then as they progress, you want them to learn how to win. And sometimes that's tough because you can get a bunch of games late in fourth quarters and blow a game like what we saw last night in Phoenix. And then the next step is that they learn how to win consistently, and they progress from there, right? I think, in all honesty, the Sacramento Kings had just never had any of their steps at all this season. They just either thump somebody or they just don't show up. And there was no middle ground. One game early in the season, I can remember where, they had the good game against Golden State, right, where they lost on the Klay Thompson buzzer beater, right? That was a good game. We saw the comeback, but that comeback against Golden State was totally bizarre and like had no business being put in any sort of shell of like.
That was a De'Aaron Fox one-man show.
Yeah, that was a 20-point lead, and you're trying to get into the play-in tournament, the end-season tournament. Like the whole thing felt weird. Like they're trying to not lose by 12 points to Warriors, and they ended up losing the game. Like the whole thing is weird. So for me, this week was actually really big. You got thumped by a Philadelphia 76ers team that clearly was better than you, even without Joel Embiid. Without the league MVP, they still crushed you. But then the effort we saw against the Milwaukee Bucks was spectacular. The game was great. They looked like they had it. And then, of course, they blow the 9-point lead, right? That in that game, the veteran team that's been together forever, who's already established what those steps are for them, they've already figured out how to win games, how to win close games, and they beat you.
Yeah.
You get to the Phoenix game, And realistically, I think it's part of the same thing. A team made adjustment, a team got hot, a team that's a veteran team who has veteran stars, and they figured out how to win a game, and you barely lost a game. So I'm not of the this team easily could have been 4-1 on this trip. They finished 2-3, but I'm not like, like Chicken Little here, the sky is falling at all. In a lot of sense, this was a good thing for the Kings to lose these games. It may not feel that way at the end of the season if they miss a play-in tournament or anything else, but they need to learn how to win these games, and I don't think they had that process yet.
Well, they're now the 7 seed.
Yeah.
So I would like you to explain what you mean by it's a good thing that they lost these games, because I'm struggling to find like where blowing a 6-point overtime lead and then blowing an 18-point lead with 5:37 left in a game is like, yeah, hey, this is good.
No, I totally get you.
Swell.
I get you, but like I would look at like how many times Brock Purdy needs to be in games that matter. He needs to be in games that are close in the end. And in a lot of sense, part of the problem with Brock Purdy's development and why people feel the way they do is because he's never had come from behind victories.
Right.
And it's because he plays for a team that stomps on everybody.
Sure.
And then the 3 games they lost that were legitimate losses in the middle of the season, they didn't play well at all. Right. And so those were just blowout games. And sure, he was part of the reason for that. But that's what kind of where I'm at with the Kings. Like, they've never had these games this season. And every season is different. This is clearly not last season's Sacramento Kings. So we can't just say, hey, look, this is where they finished last year and they should be able to build directly on that. Well, hey, you know what they have? They're still 6 games over 500, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's further ahead where they were last year on January 15th or January 16th. So like their progression is there, but what they need to do is they need to find ways to win these games. And you don't find ways to win these games without actually being in these types of games.
The problem for me with last night specifically is this should not have been one of those types of games.
No, it shouldn't.
And the problem was the Suns had multiple times in the first half and then earlier in the second half where they'd chip away and get it to 10.
Yeah.
The Kings would have a response. So Suns respond back, they get it to 11, Kings respond back to 19. You get it as high as 22 in the fourth quarter. The Suns battle back a little bit, but again, 18 points with 5:37 left. That's borderline like, okay, get a couple of stops and coaches are emptying their benches. And they end up smoking that game. And that is where I understand what you're saying. And I totally agree. Like, at some point you need to play in these close games. You need to learn how to win them. It's the same thing like in the playoffs last year. But man, you know what? Part of it is just experience. You need to gain that experience. And that's why it's so hard for any NBA team to just jump into the postseason for the first time and go win a title.
Yes.
There's levels to this and there's steps like you were talking about earlier. Last night specifically, though, I think the Milwaukee game is way more along those lines. That is a team that has won a title. That is 2 great players in Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard. And you fall behind late, but you get a bucket to send it to overtime. And okay, you faltered in overtime, but you know what? That's really good experience. This was just a collapse. This was face planting. And I don't think there's a ton of like silver linings for me anyway. Yeah, you know what? It was close. Well, it shouldn't have been. They had missed jump shots. They had turnovers, multiple turnovers.
Yep.
They were having layups blocked. And then on the other end, they just start giving up buckets. And that inability to, okay, hey, lock in, get a stop. Okay, here's our go-to. We're going to get a bucket here. The inability to do that in every big spot last night is really, really concerning.
Yeah, I get that. But I would also tell you that the way that the Phoenix Suns played, the way that they switched what they were doing, how they went small, right? So they used Kevin Durant at the 5, right? And they went super small. The Kings didn't adjust to that. And that's where I think Mike Brown talks about like a teaching moment. Like you can look at that and go, okay, we just saw why when a team goes small, we can have problems. And part of the problems is like, look, it doesn't matter how good Domantas Sabonis is. And we do a lot of praising of Domantas Sabonis on the show because I think he's underappreciated. I think he needs to be put out there more as a star level player, even a superstar level player. I mean, he's got 11 triple doubles on the season. He's got 23 consecutive double doubles, but you watch what happened in that game last night. he was still trying to run the standard offense at the top of the key when
Mhm.
they didn't have anyone who could defend him in the post. So I need him to go full Jackie Moon and go position himself down low and then throw the ball out and then get the ball back and then throw the ball out and keep working until he's under the basket and you know, give me the ball again.
Yeah.
I'm not ready. Okay,
Yeah.
back to me. Like I needed him to do that. And then on the defensive end, like what we saw from Sabonis was unfortunately he ran back into the blocks, thinking he was going to have to go up against Nurkic or go up against a big body.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, by the time he made an adjustment, it was too late. They had already released a 3-point shot.
Yeah.
And so that's something that, you know, again, he needs to work on. He needs to figure out. But also, like, look, this team has a problem complaining to the officials. We saw the play last night where De'Aaron Fox is screaming at one official on the far end as they inbounds the ball. They race right down the court. Domantas Sabonis, you pan forward. He's yelling at the other official underneath the basket because he clearly thought he got fouled. You got two guys that are yelling at the officials. Kevin Huerter's trying to defend three dudes. And then afterwards, Kevin Huerter goes over and says something to Domas. Like, you're like, hey, man, we can't do that. Like, what are you doing? Like, I can't leave a knockdown shooter in the corner because you're yelling at an official. And so, like, look, I think there's some growing up this team needs to have happen here. And they need to make some adjustments in these key spots. But like, how many teams out there can go small with Kevin Durant at the 5? It's one, because there's only one.
There's zero other ones.
There's only one Kevin Durant that you can do that with.
Right.
And, you know, there are like nuanced issues that have cost them games in the last couple of days.
Totally. The one of the critiques I've had of Domantas Sabonis has been that lack of assertiveness offensively. And I know that's not the type of player he is. I totally get it. He's going to look for other guys to get their shots. And okay, maybe he has a good shot, but he's looking for the great shot. I understand. But he is supposed to be this team's second best player. And in the NBA, in crunch time, your best players need to go get you buckets. We have seen him push smaller centers around before. He does it all the time. We've seen him have 25, 30, 35-point games, just moving centers out of the way and going and getting easy baskets. You need to demand the ball in that spot, dude.
Yeah.
I don't care who it's against. I don't care if it's Kevin Durant or Draymond Green or whoever it is, whatever undersized center is playing you. You cannot be a dominant center in the league who gets played off the court by small ball. And Domantas Sabonis does that to himself.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Go back your ass into the post, call for the damn ball, and score. Get Kevin Durant in foul trouble so he can't kill you on the other end.
Yeah.
Do something. But setting screens and flipping passes is not it. That's not what you want from your second best player in that spot. Correct.
Yeah.
Anyways, plenty more on this coming up. We're going to get to James' 6 quick thoughts, sponsored by nobody, but it could be you. Rich.ripley@odyssey.com if you would like to sponsor 6 quick thoughts. That's coming up next on ESPN 1320.
What's going on, everybody? Sabonis definitely needs to figure out a way to play against smaller players.
Not to brag, but we got out of the first segment on time for the first time, I think, in like 3 months. So
nice.
Go us. Aside from basketball, how's everyone doing today?
Yeah.
aside from that. Feta Rap is such a funny name. This is ridiculous, but Feta Rap is really funny. What's up, TC?
Yeah, and I would say, not that one. That one. Chet is very similar in size to KD and Sabonis dominant. Hey, Patrick. I don't think it is. There's no comparison between Kevin Durant, who is one of the greatest scorers in the history of the NBA, and Chet Holmgren in year 1.
No, but I think offensively, Domas just moves Holmgren around. Now, granted, Kevin Durant is a seasoned defender and a good defender, but
yes, Yeah, and I look, I think Chet is going to be phenomenal, but right now, like what basketball is not just one side of the court, and you can't like the offensive bleeds into the defensive side when all of a sudden you've got to go out and somehow defend Kevin Durant on the perimeter if you're Domantas Sabonis or somebody else on the perimeter. I think that they got caught up in like a snowball, and they weren't able to slow the game down in their minds and figure out even who is Sabonis supposed to guard when they go small like that. Because it's not Durant. That's a disaster waiting to happen. So, like, where do you hide Sabonis?
Yeah.
Or do you not hide Sabonis? Do you put Sabonis on the bench, which is what Mike did for about 45 seconds, and that didn't go well either. So, yeah, it's like every once in a while you're going to have one of those situations. And, like, look, the Kings haven't had somebody go small like that I can remember that caused that many problems.
Yeah. But like you said, the good news is there's not that many teams that can go small that effectively.
Yeah, I mean, small with 5 shooters, straight up 5 shooters.
I think Boston can.
Yeah, I mean, maybe with Horford shooting, and I don't even know
Porzingis.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Porzingis is really a 5 anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, Durant is more 3-4 still than he is like 4-5.
All right, here we go. 5 seconds. If you're hanging out on hold, please continue to do so. We will get to you shortly. I'm Kyle Madsen. That's James Ham. 916-909-1320. That's 916-909-1320. If you would like to converse about what the heck happened to the Kings last night against the Suns in Phoenix, the Kings with 5:37 left led 112-94, and they lost 119-117 in regulation. It was a little bit ugly, but let's get to James Ham's 6 quick thoughts.
How'd yesterday's Kings game go?
Not great.
Kings insider James Ham has 6 notes you need to know.
Yeah, he does.
Here are James Ham's 6 quick thoughts.
6 of them things. James, get us started. Number 1.
De'Aaron Fox looked extra motivated to erase a bad taste left by the loss of Milwaukee. Was probably going to feel the same way. 33 points, 12 to 24 shooting, 6 makes from long range, but lots of turnovers in the final frame, lots of bad shots in the final frame, and his foul with 1.6 seconds remaining, brutal. Man.
Like, you can't, I get, he's in an impossible spot there, right?
Impossible.
Like, Kevin Durant, if of all the players all time, if you need a bucket, Kevin Durant is one of the 5 guys you're going to.
Yes.
He's 7 foot. He's going to get to his spot. He's going to rise up. There are very few people in the NBA who are impacting his shot, much less 6'3" De'Aaron Fox. Like, that's an but you can't foul. You can't let him go to the line and shoot 2 free throws.
No, I totally agree. And I mean, it's basically 2 games in a row where the final play came down to a defensive error by De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
And the Milwaukee game, I'm going to carve out a little bit. He took a bad angle on Damian and then didn't spin around fast enough. But there were other plays on that. There are other things that happened, like Domantas, again, didn't shift up to seal off, to go defend Damian Lillard as soon as he came across the line.
Right.
And there's something else that was hidden in that. Giannis Antetokounmpo tried to call for the ball on the inbounds, and Malik Monk completely jumped it and took away Giannis. And I don't think Giannis could have brought the ball up the court and done what Damian Lillard could have done.
He might have dunked it. Takes him about 3 steps to get there.
It does, but it would have been.
I know 100% what you're saying.
It would have been a lot more difficult. So
yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
Okay.
no, but the good news, I'm going to try and find a little silver lining here because, like I said, you can't foul in that spot. De'Aaron Fox, like you said, is looking a little more like De'Aaron Fox after a rough couple of games offensively.
Yeah. He
And
looks like he's fully back, and
Yeah.
I think people should be excited about that. It's
Yeah.
just, I think there's still some mental errors. And
Yep.
fourth quarter Fox, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same as what we've seen in the past.
Yep, for sure. All right, number 2.
Sabonis was a problem. He posted his 23rd straight double-double, his 11th triple-double of the season, 21 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists. I thought they should have run a ball through him more late in the game as things were falling apart. But again, I think he needed to figure out what was happening as well. So maybe that's a little bit of a strong take by me, but at the same time,
Domantas Sabonis is a great player. He's an all-NBA player.
Mm-hmm.
In a spot like that, he needs to demand the basketball. If we ran through the all-NBA team right now, and then maybe give it a fourth team, let's go through the top 20 guys in the league. I think 19 of them are calling for the ball in that spot and going and getting the ball and making something happen for their team.
Okay, so 2 things about it. Number 1, he should have recognized he's going up against a smaller player and got down low.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, I think everyone in the league knows he's a horrible foul shooter. He needs to clean that up before he becomes that guy in that situation.
Yep.
Because I don't think I want it, because he did miss 1 of 2 in the final 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So in a 1-point game.
Yep. Need to hit free throws, man. You
Yep.
say it every 73% as a team is not going to cut it.
Nope.
All right, number 3.
Keegan Murray continues to show new wrinkles to the game. He tried to put KD on a poster, finished with 18 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and a steal. But Kyle, the Kings forgot about him, and that's on him, and it's on the Kings. His teammates need to not forget about him. That's not okay, because he's spectacular in a lot of these situations. He had a big 3 in that game down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
They needed at least 3 or 4 more opportunities for Keegan.
Yeah, and when you talk about, like, how many times at this trade deadline have we, or as we approach a trade deadline and we talk about it, how many times have we talked about the need for, like, another creator offensively? Man, if they could get somebody who go, that's what, like, last night is where. And I think Keegan Murray is a guy that you would love to see. Hey, they are playing small. He's going to be guarded by somebody he can rise and fire over.
Mm-hmm.
Get into the mid range. He's so good there.
Yeah.
And get to the bucket. There are ways that Keegan Murray is creating his own shot and has created his own shot that I would like to see them go to him in that spot if it's not going to be Domantas Sabonis.
Yep.
Number 4.
The Mediterranean diet.
You want to make this happen so bad.
This is my new Sasha Vezenkov. I'm calling him, like, when you have a game like this, he got cooking in this one.
Yeah.
He moves so well without the ball, man. It's funny. I put up the Mr. Deeds, the John Turturro clip of "I'm very sneaky."
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. He just, like, shows up under the basket, like, ready to catch it and put it in the basket. He's still off a little bit on the 3, but man, he was fun to watch. 14 points, 6 and 9 off the bench. He was impactful, especially in the first half where he had 12 points.
Every once in a while, there will be, I think I've compared him to Hunter Pence before.
Oh yeah.
Hunter Pence, really good player with the Phillies and the Astros and the Giants. And everything he did was unorthodox.
Yes.
His swing looked funny. His throwing motion looked funny. The way he ran looked funny. His batting stance was weird. But dude, it was so effective.
Yeah.
And you watch him and you're going, there's no way this guy can hit. Bang, 420-foot homer. And you're like, what the? There's no way this guy can hose the guy at third base. You're like, what is? That's Sasha to me. Every time he hits the court, it's like, oh boy. And he just produces. He's just good.
Hunter Pence looked like,
stop judging books by their cover, you know?
He always, to me, he looked like he just jumped off a horse and started running like bow-legged. Like everything about him was just so awkward and like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not quite sure. But he's good.
He's a heck of a player.
Yeah.
All right, number 5.
Malik Monk set the table for his teammates early, running the offense perfection. Again, early in the game, there's some spelling. 13 points, 8 assists. But he also finished with 5 turnovers and kind of melted down late in the game. Forced a lot of things and not a great finish for him at all.
Yeah, 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter. 1 of 6 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3. That's kind of the give and take with Malik Monk, right? You're going to have games like that. He's not, whatever Malik Monk is as a player, it's not a consistent, hey, you're going to get 18 and 6 a night, pencil it in. Sometimes you're going to get nights like last night where he really struggles in the fourth quarter and he turns it over a few times, but then there's going to be other nights where he scores 30 and has 9 assists. And that's just kind of what you live with because the highs are high enough that it's worth a fourth quarter like last night.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where it's at.
So. Yeah. It's definitely, he's a mistake player and you got to live with the good. You got to live with the bad.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of people want him to play 40 minutes a night. And some nights, like in my opinion, last night, Mike Brown should have gone back to Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter played really well. And late in the game, I thought Malik had made a couple of mistakes. And you probably needed to go back to the guy who had played really well defensively, who had just hit a 3, who has started to come around a little bit and has been giving you a different energy, a much bigger player. And I'm not saying all the time. I'm saying in that game, sometimes you don't got it. Malik, ran into the middle of the key looking for a foul way too often late in the game. And sometimes that happens.
Yeah, Kevin Huerter just 3 minutes in the fourth quarter last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. We can put a pin in that and talk about it a little more. Number 6, finish this up.
Hey, well, here's the pin right here. The Kings have been waiting for Kevin Huerter to awake from his slumber, and appears the patience is finally paying off. He was active, man. He scored 10 points, grabbed 3 rebounds, and picked up 2 steals. His steal early in the game was crazy, where he just jumped up and and just like grabbed the ball.
Interception.
Yeah, but from like 8 feet away. Yeah, it was like really. I thought he's finding his game again, and that's a good thing for the Sacramento Kings. Whether it's for him to be here in Sacramento or if he's somewhere else after the deadline, whatever it is, this is a good thing for the Kings.
It is just really apparent, even when he's hitting a couple of shots, how much different their offense is.
Oh yeah,
he wasn't spectacular last night. He went 4 of 9 from the field and 2 of 6 from 3, but it's like once he knocks a couple down, it just really feels like the entire offense starts rolling.
Yeah, when you see him come off the high DHO, the entire defense moves towards him, and it just changes everything for the team. Yeah, really crazy.
All right. Anyways, that's 6 quick thoughts. If you'd like to sponsor that, rich.ripley@odyssey.com.
There it is.
It's wide open for you or your business. All right. 916-909-1320. That's 916-909-1320. Up next, we have somebody on hold. We'll get to them. We also have your Jiffy Lube Fast Break Player of the Game, which, of course, not only now qualifies you to win a $100 Jiffy Lube gift certificate, you also might win a Kings jersey. We're giving away Kings jerseys. And when you enter to win that $100 gift certificate, you are also entering to win a Sacramento Kings jersey.
Very nice.
Yeah, dog. We'll tell you who that player is next. We'll tell you what the code word is right here on The Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Oh. Okay, so I don't know if anyone's seen most of you guys have seen, but the Warriors Utah Jazz game tonight has been postponed because one of the assistant coaches for the Golden State Warriors had a medical emergency. A Serbian outlet, Sports Club, has reported that Milojevic suffered a heart attack during their team dinner last night. So I'm not really, we don't know how he's doing or anything else at this point, but the game has been, the Warriors are pretty shaken up.
Dang, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So the official from the NBA, National Basketball Association, game scheduled for tonight between the Golden State Warriors and Utah Jazz has been postponed due to a medical emergency in the Warriors family. The date for a rescheduled game will be announced at a later time.
Wow.
Yeah, ESPN reported early this morning. Just not a great scene. Again,
for them to postpone a game,
that's tremendous.
Right. Yeah. Like he didn't have minor swelling and itchiness and he's going to be fine.
No, he didn't have a anaphylactic shock or something. Yeah. It's not like he ate something wrong and had an allergic reaction, which again, we don't know for sure. That's reporting out of Serbia. but I'm guessing he's Serbian.
Man, he was Jokic's coach, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, I believe that's the case.
okay. Yeah, not good. So the Warriors PR I sent out. Just tell you how good the Warriors PR is. His name is not easy to say, and in their press release, they phonetically spelled it.
That's nice.
Yeah. Dejan Milojevic.
One minute.
Cool. I'm going to get to go to practice today, Kyle. I'm excited.
Oh, nice. So are you jetting right after the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they've practices at, I think, 1:15.
Oh.
So it actually like threw me a bone here.
Oh, hey, by the way, this is Chatty House info only.
Oh.
And I'm sure it'll come up on the show. But you guys, we have a meeting tomorrow, James and I do, with our engineering staff. Jonathan, shout out to the homie Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
And we are continuing work on a setup where James and I will be in the same room. Dun, dun, dun.
Boom, boom, boom.
I'm really excited.
Yeah. Next week, we're going to have James and friends.
Yeah. I'm going to...
Kyle won't be here.
I'm going to Kauai.
Nice. My honeymoon, I went to Kauai.
Yeah. You've mentioned that.
Many, many years ago.
Many moons ago. All right. 5 seconds. Here we go. Are we back? Talking about an ugly Kings loss last night. Blew a 22-point fourth quarter lead. Man, that stretch from 537 to 222 was tough. So Fox misses a jumper with 5:37 left. Bradley Beal hits a layup. Sabonis misses one of his 2 free throws on the other end. That's what you were talking about earlier. Grayson Allen hits a 3. Now it's a 14-point game. Malik Monk turnover, Kevin Durant dunk, 12-point game. De'Aaron Fox turnover, Kevin Durant 3, 9-point game. You get the gist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it felt like that entire time. It's like, okay, they get a bucket here, it stems with, and then they continued to just turn it over. There was like I said, there was a blocked layup in there from Malik going in looking for a foul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough.
You know, Kyle, though, I will say this, and I'll keep saying it. I know some Kings fans won't agree with it. You might not agree with it. I would still prefer to lose a game like that than to lose a game like you did to Philadelphia, because I can look at, like, fully. I can look at the game against Phoenix, and I can pull guys aside if I'm the coaching staff, show them specific things. I can figure out the why. There have been like 10 games this season that I can't tell you why the Kings lost other than they just flat out didn't show up.
Sure.
And that's not okay. And so for me, like, look, I don't think there are moral victories as so much as there are games where you can learn something and games that are just flushes that you just want to, you want to forget so quickly. There's so much good game footage from this. Somebody tried something different against the Kings. They didn't adjust to it and they lost.
Yeah.
The Kings didn't react well. So how do we figure that one out?
Yeah.
We sit in a game in a film room and then we take it out onto the court and we work through a couple of things that make sense. And that's how you get better.
Yeah.
The other games, you can't get better from that.
No.
You can't get better from just not showing up. Like, in my opinion, like if you can't walk out of a game saying, hey, I know why this, and this happened, other than, oh, we didn't have enough effort. We didn't bring energy and effort to the game. We didn't play hard enough.
Yeah.
Well, that if you have too many of those, that's where you get to the point where you need different players.
Sure.
If they don't want to play hard enough, okay, let's go find some other guys that do want to play hard enough.
Yeah.
This is a game where you got schematically beat by somebody. The coaching staff didn't adjust quickly enough. The players on the court did not adjust quickly enough. You had guys that tried to do things that weren't part of the scheme, that weren't part of the idea, the soul of this team.
Sure.
And when things get chippy and things get like crazy and wild, players usually regress to who they are deep down. And I think that's what happened. You had some guys regress and really play poorly in a really big situation, and you lost. But again, teaching moments all over the place.
We'll hear from Mike Brown here in a second. He had some really interesting things to say post-game, but we'll hear that in a moment. But Matt has been hanging out on hold in West Sac very patiently. Thanks for waiting, Matt. You're on The Insiders on ESPN 1320. What's up?
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate all you guys are saying. I have a few disagreements with you, James. I appreciate your perspective. You're a very positive dude, and I'm kind of the same way. I'm not a very hyperbolic Kings fan that likes to fly off the hinges after every loss, but I have to say, and you're talking about learning experiences, and then these are going to be good, productive losses, I guess you could say, come the end of the year. But to me, I just see a team that continues to find different ways to lose games. And I know that, we can talk about free throws and turnovers and all that, but overall, I feel like this team has lost their identity. De'Aaron Fox has come into the season. He's a great 3-point shooter now. We're all happy with that, but he's not the same player that he's been that kind of made him amazing last year. This team was so efficient. They shot, I think it was the highest percentage in the league, or top 2 or top 3 or whatever it was. And I think that's because we saw the ball movement. They played a lot like the Prime Warriors did, where every player was touching the ball on every possession. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing De'Aaron Fox ram his head into a wall and Malik Monk ram their head into a wall. And, the end of the game was a prime example of that last game. There was 2 or 3 dribbles and now it's your turn. 2 or 3 dribbles and now it's your turn. And it's like, when you see Kevin Huerter starting to come back, you see Harrison Barnes having a nice game. Okay, well, get those guys back into the game, play as a team like you have been doing, that to get you to the playoffs last year, and go from there. But I just feel like they've lost that plot a little bit. They've lost their identity, and I don't really see them getting it back right now.
Man. All right. Thanks, Matt. That is dark.
Hey, man, I agree that they have lost their identity. Their identity last season was just a team that played out of their mind on offense. But I would also point out that the Kings had 34 assists last night. Like, it's not like they didn't move the ball. And to be honest with you, I think that assist total is low. Like, the Suns, whoever's doing stats there for the Suns, I watched Malik Monk come out of the first quarter with 2 assists, and I remember like 4 or 5.
Huh, interesting.
Like him in the 2-man game with Sabonis,
yeah, kept
rolling. He kept hitting guys in the corner for the open 3. Like, there were things where you're like, hang on a sec. He had the 2 dump offs to Sasha for layups, which were his assists. So they weren't giving him the roll. They weren't getting him the assist on the roll with Sabonis. And I'm like, what in the world? What are we doing here? So I don't think that. I think in crunch time, yes.
That's exactly it. So that's what's funny is I jumped into the rundown last night. This is on me, flag on me. I jumped into the rundown last night and just put some really cursory, just like, hey, initial thoughts. I had a couple other things to do. I didn't want you to look and think I'd done anything. So I jumped in and I just put a couple things, and I wrote like mid-third quarter, this looks like the Kings. Because it did.
Yeah.
It very much looked more like the Kings from last year. I also said sorry to Matt Ishbia, who just bought the Suns and now the Kings own them. But that's, again, flag on me for writing that joke prematurely. It's my fault. I'll wear that. But no, I didn't actually write it. No, it just, I thought, like you said, that looked like Kings basketball last night until crunch time. Until I mentioned it earlier, until that 5:37 mark, where the Suns cut it to 14 or to 16 and then to 14 and then to 12. It's like, at that point, you need to be able to settle and go, okay, take a timeout. Everybody lock in, still up 12. There's a few minutes left. We get a bucket and a stop. This game's over. And they just never did. And the fact that in crunch time, there's not everything Matt said to me was correct in crunch time.
Yeah.
It is my turn, your turn, bad shot, getting out of the offense. It's Domantas Sabonis trying to run the offense. And I don't think they have a plan when games get tight. And that's something I think they need to lock down.
Yeah, but I would say last season they did. They were so good in those situations last year, and I do think that they've lost their way when it comes to all of that. But like the Kings have not been in this situation hardly at all season long.
How much of it was just De'Aaron Fox being individually brilliant in fourth quarters last year, though? And what he did in fourth quarters last year wasn't something I thought was particularly sustainable. And that's fine. Like what he did last year was unbelievable. And he's still a player, one of the best crunch time players in the league.
Well,
but if it's not going to be, hey, De'Aaron, go do this, then I need a different plan than whatever they're doing right now.
No, I got you. But I would also tell you that while De'Aaron Fox led the league in clutch scoring last year, which is in the last 5 minutes, what is it?
5-point game.
5-point game in the last 5 minutes.
I think that's right.
I think he's probably not even registering on the meter this year because they don't have any crunch time minutes. There's just not. This team, this particular team has not been in that situation at all season long. They just haven't. And so I think that, again, like experience can be gained from these situations, but you also have to like kind of settle down and be part of a game like that. Like you need these games. These matter. Like having this experience, it will matter if you make it to the postseason. It will matter like going forward. And I expect them to get better and I expect them to learn from these things. And you can't keep having these things. Again, I would much rather this than losing to the Pelicans by 25 or 30. You know, to me, like there's no value in that game at all.
Yeah.
And so while I agree that yes, they have lost their way as far as their identity, I still think that they're a good team. They're just trying to figure out like they're not firing on all cylinders.
According to NBA.com, the Kings have played the 8th most clutch minutes this year.
Oh, wow.
But their offensive rating in those clutch minutes is 108.0. That is 19th.
Yeah, that's not great.
That's behind Toronto, Houston, Charlotte, Chicago, Golden State.
Yeah.
Brooklyn. Like they have to be better in those spots.
Yep.
Like that's just, I'm going to look up some player advanced stats too, or clutch stats here at the break. But let's hear from Mike Brown last night. We talked a little bit about this earlier, where you'd prefer a game like last night versus a game in Philly, where Philly, they were just kind of outmatched, even without Joel Embiid. Whereas last night, you're up 22 in the fourth. Most teams are chalking that up as a win, and you let that one slip away. Here's what Mike Brown had to say about it after the game.
The reality of it is they went small, and we couldn't score. We couldn't score inside. KD did a heck of a job, or we took some bad shots. I thought we drove into traffic 2 or 3 times. And instead of playing the way we normally play, you drive the ball, you touch the paint. If help comes, play off a 2 and spray it. We tried to go for the foul and shoot over 2 or 3 guys at the rim. And then we took some tough threes, and they forced us into tough threes. We had no pace in the half court to end the game. We were holding the ball a lot. And so their ability to play KD at the 5 and still match up with us because we couldn't score really slowed us down. And we have to figure that out because that's happened to us in the past. So great learning lesson for us all.
Yeah, I think when he says for us all, I think a lot of that is on the coaching staff. Like you said, this is about, to me, not just going, hey, Domas, next time we're in that situation, go get on the block. Or, hey, Malik, next time we're in that situation, spray it out when you drive. Don't try and shoot. Like, this is going to be, I think, a concerted, like, sit down with film. Here are a dozen plays that need to go differently in X, Y, and Z spot.
Yeah, I think that when you're thinking about this season, right, how many games last year did they go through this exact thing where they're learning how to do this? You know, a 48-win team, they're good, right? But a lot of those games were tight. A lot of them were the Kings barely getting over the hump, even like their projected win total, even at the end of the season versus what you would have thought it would have been was like 6 or 7 games over what they should have been. It's because they came up with clutch moments. So when you take away like basically a standard buildup of a season where you're having games like this all the time and you're not getting to a point where you're you're experienced in those games. And again, we can talk about how this is the same group of players, but it's really not. Kevin Huerter's certainly not the same player, but also Keegan Murray's not the same player. De'Aaron Fox is averaging 4 more points per game. Domantas Sabonis his stats across the board are different. Malik Monk wasn't playing in the fourth quarter down the stretch of every single game. That's not what happened last year for people who aren't remembering that.
Right.
There were other players, Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter.
Yeah.
They were playing major minutes down the stretch. Harrison Barnes is not the same player he was last year.
Sure.
So you have a change in balance of all of these pieces where guys just aren't doing the same things they were. And some of it's positive and some of it's negative. But that's what we talk about, like the organic growth of a team. This team has grown together differently this season than they did last year, and they look totally different to me. Like, again, it's not the same offense. It's not the same, again, flying off the DHOs all the time, the dribble handoffs. It's not any of that stuff. It's a very different nuanced changes to the offense that makes it look and feel differently. And also, this team just doesn't compete half the time. And so,
which is wild. That was the you said two things there. That one, and then one other thing you mentioned Kevin Huerter. I want to get back to, but that's the thing when we talked before the season. The compete level was never a thing I even questioned would be a problem.
No, in
fact, we said
you could talk about their physicality, whether they're soft or whether that was an issue, whether they were physical enough, but the compete level. No.
Right. We sat there and we said, because a lot of the preseason prognostication about the Kings was that they're going to get hurt. They're going to be 11th in the West because they're going to get hurt. And that's just what's going to happen. And so we, in pushing back against that, we would, kind of lay out, okay, well, hey, here's the opposite way this could go instead of that worst case scenario. And so much of it was, hey, they're going to be able to stack some wins early on because there are a lot of teams where the Clippers or the Nuggets or all these teams that have been to the playoffs, and they're the Lakers, another one, all these teams that have been to the playoffs and they go to the playoffs. It's like, they don't care about October, November, December. Like their season starts on Christmas.
Yeah. Or even February after the deadline.
Sure. Yeah. That's when. And so the Kings are going to go out there and they're going to compete. They're going to try their asses off and they're going to be able to, and they haven't. And that's shocking to me. The other thing real quick is you just mentioned Kevin Huerter, which I want to pull the pin out of the Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter thing. You mentioned earlier that last night, if you were coaching, you would have pulled Malik Monk in the fourth quarter and put Kevin Huerter in.
Well, and I don't mean at any point in the fourth quarter. I just think that there was a point in that game where Malik had, like, he turned the ball over, he'd missed some shots. It had gotten reckless.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's a player who plays on the edge, right? We all know that he's a mistake player. Sure. And mistake players are great because sometimes they make good mistakes and sometimes they make bad mistakes, but the energy and everything else they bring to the court is amazing. And so
positives far outweigh the negatives.
Yeah. Especially with him, like the Kings have had mistake players in the past, like the Buddy Hields of the world. Again, like Francisco Garcia used to throw a ball into the stands every single game. Like you just didn't know when it was going to happen. But like people 3 rows deep knew they were going to get hit if they weren't paying attention.
They got the signs like at baseball games. Watch out for flying bats and balls.
Exactly. So for me, when you have a player like Malik, you live with it, right? You'll live with a game like this. For as good as he's been, you'll live with him having a bad game in crunch time. Same with Fox. Like Fox is still a dominant player in the fourth quarter. Yeah. You'll live with what's happening with him in the fourth quarter, but it just can't be all the time. And so for me, again, I looked at the game that Kevin Huerter was playing. I saw that he had hit a 3 there in the fourth quarter, that, his confidence is coming back. His defensive presence was really high level. Plus the fact is, like, Kevin Huerter is a lot bigger than a lot of the players that are running out there.
That's true.
And so getting Kevin Huerter even like in and around the basket, he's really good in that situation.
That's a good point.
And it's possible that you could have got, and the rebound situation, how did the Kings get demolished on the glass?
I have no idea.
Well, that's, again, like, where is somebody stepping up and saying, okay, we're not going to get killed on the glass? Both teams shoot around 50%. One team has 14 more rebounds or 12 more rebounds, whatever the end total was.
Yeah.
So for me, like, there's a lot of things that happened here, but like, you're a coach, you gotta sit there and work through what's happening.
Mhm.
And it's really hard when, if you pull Malik, people are gonna blame you for pulling Malik, and Malik might not be happy about it. But and then if Kevin Huerter doesn't hit a shot, people are gonna be like, oh, come on, we know what that guy does. And so there's all this negativity and like, again, I think I'm not advocating for bad losses, because I would have much preferred the Kings won that game and learned from it.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I would take that type of loss over the other type of loss.
Yeah. I think the thing for me with Malik and Herter specifically, one, I think Herter is a really logical answer for when teams go small against the Kings. That just seems like a logical fit, because he's 6'7" and he's likely going to be bigger than the shooting guard or small forward that is also on the court. So okay, that's there. I think Trey Lyles is another answer. That if they want to put if another team wants to go small, I think you can go Trey Lyles at the 5. And I know that, okay, then you're pulling Domas off the court, but I mean, based on last night, maybe that's a preferable option. But again, we'll see if that's something teams can employ, because not many teams have Kevin Durant that they can just throw at the center.
Well, that, and like, look, Domantas Sabonis has been incredible all season long.
Yeah.
You're waiting for the moment where he figures it out on the fly. He didn't figure it out on the fly. Sometimes that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like not every, again, think of all the times where we see
But I'm
Domas
here to overreact.
Yes, I get it. But like, think how many times we see Domantas Sabonis like twirling his finger asking for a replay. And then we watch the replay and it's like, bro, you just shoved him on the hip and he fell out of bounds. Like, that was a foul.
Yeah.
So I think in the moment, Domas gets so hyper focused and so intense that sometimes he's not seeing the forest through the trees. And so for me, there are times where you're just so amped up and so in it.
Sure.
And you just lost a bad game. You want nothing more than to come back from the road trip 3-2. You know what this means. It's a team. If you get that win, you're 3-0 against the Suns and you win the season series, even though you still have 2 games left against them, which is totally bizarre. The Kings still have 2 more chances to win the season series. But it's one of those things where I think you're just so amped up and so in it that you can't calm down for a second and make an adjustment that was crucial. Yeah. And I'm not ever going to say, hey, like, the best thing to do is to pull Domantas Sabonis. He's still, if a team goes small, he should be able to be an absolute mismatch problem for the other team.
I agree.
He should be able to rebound every single ball. He should be able to go score in the post the entire time, because he can bull rush anybody in that situation.
Yeah.
He didn't do it.
Yeah.
He didn't get in the post and actually do it. He kept setting screens out on the perimeter. He didn't get back and go try to defend a 3-point shooter, because that's all they had on the court.
Right.
So there are all of these things that kind of lead you to, like, it was just, it's a one-off. It's an anomaly. It just because 2 of them happened in a row doesn't mean it's a trend. Those were
a coincidence.
Those were, yes, they were 2 totally different types of losses that you had.
Yeah.
And, sure, they don't neither one of them feel good, but I'd much prefer that than losing to the Charlotte Hornets at home.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
A couple of clutch time things real quick. Malik Monk actually leading the Kings in clutch time scoring this year at 4.2 points. He's 7th in the league. De'Aaron Fox at 3.6. He is 15th in the league. According to NBA.com/stats/player/clutch-traditional.
Okay.
That's the whole URL. De'Aaron Fox has not made a 3 in clutch time this year. That's shocking.
That's
maybe
wild.
I'm conflating some with maybe I'm got a couple like where they're up 8 and they need a big shot to kind of put it away that he hits.
How many games are we talking about, though?
26. Nope, that's his age. 14. 14 games.
Nope, that's his age.
14 games.
Yeah.
At he's about 4.6 minutes per game of clutch time.
Yeah, it's not a lot of clutch play this year.
Yeah, not a lot of opportunities.
And he's not the same player that he was last year. In some senses, he's way better, and in other senses, he's got some work to do.
Do you know who's leading that? Just quick aside, do you know who's leading the NBA in clutch time scoring this year? I would give you 10 guesses, and I don't think you'd get it.
Kyrie Irving.
No, he's third.
Oof.
Oh, this is a fun game. This is what we're going to do to the break.
Oh, wow.
We have more Mike Brown sound.
Best in clutch time. It's not Luka.
Luka, it is not. He is. Oh, geez. Really?
Wow.
How
about
35th?
Oh, well, because all of
them
them are going to the other guy.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton?
Tyrese Halliburton is 6th. 4.3.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is, he's way down here. 30th.
Oh.
That's kind of shocking.
I don't know if I'm going to get this, Kyle. Ever.
He's only played 7 games of clutch time this year.
Oh, so it's someone who's not on a good team.
Correct.
Oh, wow. Well, it's not Marvin Bagley.
Nope, it's not.
I'm going to guess.
Captain Salary Dump over there.
Yeah, Captain Salary Dump.
That's weird.
I don't know, man. You got to give me...
Anthony Simons.
Oh, my goodness.
Of the Portland Trailblazers is your leading clutch time scorer this year, 5.4 points.
Ooh, interesting.
Mikal Bridges is number 2. Kyrie Irving 3. Dame Lillard 4. Steph Curry and Tyrese Halliburton tied for 5th.
Oh,
man.
All right. So I wasn't that far off with Halliburton.
Yeah. But Malik Monk's been good in crunch time, man.
Yeah. What did you say? 6th?
7th.
Okay.
Yeah. 4.2, 47.1% from the field, but 27.8% from 3. Oof. Yikes.
All right.
Anyways. Clutch time scoring, am I right?
Yeah. It's a huge stat.
I know it. And especially in a spot like last night. And it's not even I think there's a huge difference between, hey, this has been a back and forth game and now it's time to buckle up. There's a huge difference between that and we're up 18 with 5.5 minutes left. Oh no, it's a clutch time game.
Oh yeah, no.
3 minutes later, like that recovering from that. And that's just something the Kings are gonna have to, like you said, there's kind of growth in their steps. And ideally that's a one-off.
Yeah.
Ideally they kind of put teams away going forward. And I believe they will. Like you said, I think a lot of what they did last night was correctable.
Yeah.
But if they get into another spot where it's close late and a team goes small and they have a lot of these same problems, now it's more than just a coincidence.
Yeah. And hey, Kyle, I'm going to add one last thing before we jump into the break. Like, there is something to like half of the roster knowing that the Kings are trying to improve the roster and knowing that their time in Sacramento could be short, and a little bit of panic on some of these guys.
Yeah.
So a little bit of uncomfortability, and like, don't forget that at this point, because I think this is that moment where they could have taken a huge step forward and they're just kind of treading water.
Yeah.
Tough times.
All right. We will tell you the Jiffy Lube Fast Break player of the game. First thing coming out of the break. Qualify to win a $100 Jiffy Lube gift certificate. Qualify to win a Kings jersey.
Yep.
Like an actual jersey, not like a t-shirt,
No.
It's like an actual nice jersey. You qualify to win one of those. We will tell you how next. And the Sacramento A's? Oh, yeah. Exact same thought.
Well, hey, everybody.
We'll update you on that next.
Hey, I'm going to refill my coffee.
Oh, I'll be back, Chatty House. Oh, James is going to get coffee. Tea? Coffee? Yeah, no, you're good. I think it's a coffee. I thought it was tea, but that was his IFB hanging down. IFB is his earpiece. I don't even know what IFB stands for. I just know that that's what it's called. I could Google it, but why would I Google it when someone in the Chatty House is going to know? And I will just find out the answer there. Shout out to you guys. What do we got? How we doing? He's not, but he definitely could have been. That was outrageous. You know how I can't stand Zach Collins and I just want to punch Zach Collins in the face? No reason. I'm sure he's a nice person and I'm sure that his family loves him and he loves his family. I'm sure there's just something about him that just irks me. And that's not to say that I don't have that kind of face. Like, I'm sure there's people that just want to punch me in the mouth. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. Sometimes people just have that face. Grayson Allen tops that list. I mean, and I'm definitely not alone in that. Bustelo gang, let's go. I've still got 5 cans of it in my house. I just ordered a 6-pack of the cans. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I love Entanglement from Visa Tui. It's a GSM. It's my favorite wine. I will Matera. I'm going to take a photo of that and I will keep it in mind. Oh, there it is. I'm not even sure if in his own locker room likes him. I don't know how many people that is kind of funny. I wonder how many NBA fans there are who are just like, yeah, Grayson Allen. NBA fans like that who aren't also Duke fans. Like just random, just like, is there a Hornets fan who doesn't follow college basketball? Is just like, yeah, I rock with Grayson Allen. I don't think there is. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I've never been to that island before. I've only ever been to Maui. What? Ugh, I'm out on Emma Stone. Oh, Apollo, this is great. Thank you so much. I'm a big wine guy, so if anybody has wine Rex, let me know. I'm more of a red wine guy, though. I prefer like a kind of bigger, bolder red. Not big on like a fruit forward red is fine, but it's not my favorite. Give me some heavy tannins though. It's the best. Nice. Manny, stop. Get super mad. Knock it off. TBD. I don't know. We're just kind of like flying by the seat of our pants a little bit on our trip. Just like pulling up and yeah, dog, send over food recs, please.
Ooh.
James, if you see me saving a lot of messages, it's because I'm saving food and wine recommendations.
Oh, nice.
Hang on, we're coming back. All Second
right.
hour. Here we go. Crisis averted, everybody. As we begin hour number 2, I'm Kyle Madsen. That's James Ham. We're taking you up to noon before we hand it off to D-Lo and KC right here on Sacramento Sports Leader. Thank you, everybody, for rocking with us on the radio, on the free Odyssey app, on ESPN 1320 TV, twitch.tv/ESPN1320, youtube.com/ESPN 1320. Somebody at the break said that Emma Stone is a big Grayson Allen fan because I was positing that there's probably not anybody who doesn't like, not a Duke fan, but also not a fan of a team that like, there's no Hornet fan who doesn't follow college basketball who's just like, yeah, I love Grayson Allen.
I don't think like if he's on your team, I think sure you can like Grayson Allen, but outside of that, I don't think there's a lot of people.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it doesn't help that he really looks like Ted Cruz.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
depending on your political leaning, sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, totally depending on your political, but he does. So
no doubt. And I definitely don't think that helps for a certain segment of the population. But somebody said that Emma Stone is a big Grayson Allen fan, and that was going to be devastating to your boy.
Yeah,
because I rock with Emma Stone. I think she's great.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see Poor Things. But my buddy Sharp, who lives down in Phoenix, said that Emma Stone cleared up she was talking to Devin Booker. I'm sorry, Grayson Allen cleared up that she was talking to Devin Booker, not to him.
Yeah, I'm sure Grayson's pretty bummed about that. Although Grayson may have a perfectly.
But dude, the game's the game. Like, you got to know if you're standing next to Devin Booker, and you're Grayson Allen, you got to know. There's a level of awareness.
She's not talking to you.
Yeah,
she's talking.
It's
to
like
me.
No, when we're schmoozing with people at something, people are, and I'm standing like people are talking to James, not Kyle. Like, you're the guy who knows everybody. Like, I get fist bumps from the ushers, but only once they see like I'm with you. Like it's basically the same thing.
Those are my people.
It's basically the same thing. Jiffy Lube Fast Break Player of the Game from last night. Not a fun one, guys. Sorry. It's gonna be Fox is gonna be your code word. Just Fox.
Oh,
Yeah, just what I went with. And Kevin Herter was already there.
I thought
I know
you might have gone KD.
Well, I did see.
Mm.
I don't like doing a player from an opposing team. And I know the Kings had a big collapse last night, but I mean, De'Aaron Fox looked a little more like himself. He wasn't great in the fourth quarter. I get it. Like, okay, fine. That's over. But it's Fox. So you go to ESPN1320.com and go to the contest page. It's front and center. You can't miss it. The fast break player of the game. Click on that. Enter the code word FOX, FOX, for your chance to win a $100 Jiffy Lube gift certificate and a Kings jersey. That's a Sacramento Kings jersey, by the way, not an LA Kings jersey.
Oh, okay. Not a Stockton Kings jersey?
Wild. Just an Anže Kopitar jersey. Coming your way.
We didn't get you a Jeremy Lamb Stockton Kings jersey?
I would wear that so
Really?
fast.
Or Shabazz Muhammad, who they just traded for? Yeah, like...
Bazzi is on the Stockton Kings now?
The Stockton Kings are... I'm not quite sure what's going on there, Kyle. They're going all like middle-aged men. Like, I thought that
I don't think you understand the love I have for Shabazz Muhammad.
Okay.
He is one of my favorite NBA players of all time.
All right.
Because my man averaged like 0.04 assists per game. He is a black hole on offense, and I love that for him.
Yeah, he's slightly better on the assists than the late great Ian Kadare.
We've talked about this.
Who is
before.
the worst assist man of all time.
Yes.
Yeah, so like at this point, like they're starting all like guys that are between 28 and 32. So like Jeremy Lamb, you got Scalabrine down there, you got Deontay Burton. You just keep stacking up these guys who are again, I'm not quite sure. It's no longer called the D League, the developmental league. It's now the G League, which I don't know what the G stands for outside of Gatorade. Yeah.
I literally think that's what it is.
No, I think so too. But outside of it being the Gatorade league, it's supposed to be like a developmental league. And the Kings don't even have a roster spot to bring some of these guys up. Although we are coming to the end of the 10-day contract for JTA. I'm not sure what's happening there. That's a good question. Maybe I should get on that. Maybe I should be the reporter.
Yeah, we should. Hey, if you want, James, for the latest on that, go to thekingsbeat.com and subscribe.
There we go. There we go.
No, it's not. I panicked this morning when choosing. I have to get to. No, I did, and Enbo makes a great point in the chat. Like De'Aaron Fox is not a great pick for last night's game, and you know what? I'm with you. That's not. I'm not even going to say our best work because I did not consult you. That's my fault. Not my best work. I saw Megan from our promotions manager director. I forget her exact title, but the person who runs promotions here.
Yeah, it's a large title.
She does a great job.
She does.
And so I don't want to let her down. And so I see her in the mornings when I leave the 98 Rock studio, and I was like, Fox.
Oh.
I just panicked because I didn't want to be like, I'll get back to you and then forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So bad work by me. Enbo, thank you for holding me accountable.
All right.
I failed.
Either way, go to ESPN1320.com.
Thank you.
Click the giant logo that says Jiffy Lube.
Yep.
Put Fox in there.
Yep.
And you'll get put in a drawing to not only get a $100 gift certificate, but a Sacramento Kings jersey will be given away one a month for the next 4 months.
Yeah. So get those entries in. Get them in early and often. We do this after every single Kings game. And I promise after their next game, I'll have a better pick for player of the game.
Yeah.
I'll consult you next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or at least
at least
Jackie over there. I mean, at least she would have
Yeah, Jackie wasn't here yet.
She would have like straightened you out. Like, oh, I don't know, Kyle.
Dude, I think she's at 100% guessing who the player of the game is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's
all right.
Very, very good at that. In fact, you know what? Maybe I'll just start bequeathing that honor unto her.
Okay.
Like, hey, you pick. You tell us who it is. Shout out the promotion staff. They do an awesome job.
That's right.
Mike Brown mentioned actually, you know what? We're gonna put a pin in the Mike Brown sound. The Sacramento A's.
Kyle.
This is a thing that has been hitting the news, that the A's, because if you're unfamiliar, the Oakland Athletics are moving to Las Vegas. Shovels aren't in the ground yet in Las Vegas, so it's not like official, but I's have been dotted, T's have been crossed. They're just kind of waiting to put the thing in the mail, right?
They have no pictures. They have no financing, but
no,
it's all
other than
on
that,
par.
signed, sealed, delivered, like ready to go, right?
Yeah. But they can't play. Their lease runs out in Oakland after this
In
season.
2024. Yeah.
And the new building that is nowhere near being built.
Correct.
It won't be done until 2028. So they're going to
At
be
the
homeless.
earliest.
Homeless.
Yes. So there's word that the A's and the city of Oakland aren't that that relationship is not super amicable at the moment.
No, it's over.
Amicable. So it doesn't sound like the Coliseum is going to be an option.
Mm-hmm.
So they've talked about, hey, maybe they play some games at Oracle Park.
Yeah.
Play where the Giants play. Maybe they go and play at the minor league stadium in Las Vegas. Now it's being floated that, hey, maybe they come up here and they play at the River Cats Park, Sutter Health Field.
Mm-hmm.
That's now in the news. So here's what Casey Pratt from ABC7 out in the Bay Area, he's been covering the A's relocation saga for years now. Here's what he had to say about a possible A's move to Sac.
You really think for even a second that these same Kings fans in Sacramento, these same people in Sacramento, many of whom are also A's fans, are going to grant amnesty to John Fisher's Oakland A's, help him out, throw him a bone, keep him going so he can kick the can down the road in Las Vegas before time runs out? I don't think so. This is going to be an extremely unpopular idea for Sacramento residents. You're already seeing it all over social media. Many of the biggest players in Sacramento media already saying it makes no sense. Why? After everything the Kings went through, after everything Sacramento people went through, after everything many of them also A's fans went through, would they help make sure that John Fisher can keep the A's rather than force him to sell the team? Doesn't add up. I don't see it happening.
James, your thoughts?
Yeah, see, I love Casey Pratt, and he's been all over
Friend
this.
Of the show.
But as someone who covered relocation here in Sacramento, sometimes you get too close to the flame, and you're in it so deep that you can't understand why someone would do something. Number one, I found it very interesting that Vivek Ranadive bought the River Cats. I had no idea why he would possibly buy the River Cats. Last season, we saw John Fisher sitting courtside next to Vivek Ranadive. They're friends. They know each other. Now, why would Sacramento do this? Because Vivek Ranadive has tried to buy other sports franchises all over. He talked about a hockey team. He's tried to buy a couple of different European soccer teams. He's figured out that when you buy a franchise for a $535 million valuation and 10 years later it's worth $3 billion, you probably made a wise investment. So if I'm Vivek, I can see a window where Vivek might be able to talk himself into bringing the A's to Sacramento for 3 seasons, letting him play there, showing Major League Baseball that Sacramento is a baseball town, potentially asking for a expansion team in Sacramento, and trying to build the base that way. I could see that happening. Do I think that Vivek is going to worry about the appearance? I don't, because you know what? Each of these situations they're very separate. And I would much, as an A's fan, as a lifetime A's fan, I would much rather see the A's in Sacramento, California than Las Vegas. And if they go to Las Vegas, I'm done with baseball. But if there was baseball back in Sacramento, I would consider it. And they could build a beautiful waterfront park right there. They'd have to, or expand the stadium, which would be very difficult, but it's possible. And I thought it was strange when Vivek bought the team, but it makes a lot more sense right now.
Yeah. And to baseball in Sacramento, shout out to the River Cats. You mean Major League Baseball?
Yeah,
in Sacramento.
And what's the worst case? They move the Aviators to Sacramento. And if you break the ties with the Giants and where their affiliate is now at the River Cats, and then you get the A's affiliate back in Sacramento, you might have something.
Yeah, definitely.
Sell the team, dude.
Exactly. Pascal Siakam on the move? We'll tell you where next.
You're listening to The Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, sponsored by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320 and 98.5 HD2, Sacramento sports leader.
Oh, thank you. Nope. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you're all welcome for getting the outro there.
Yeah. Hey, look, I don't like it. I'm telling you that I think that that's where that Vivek is. Like, there's a big issue with the television contract as well.
Yeah.
If they leave the Bay Area, then NBC doesn't have to honor their $35 million a year contract. And again, I don't know why NBC wouldn't be trying to get out of that contract already. If they move to Sacramento, NBC could renegotiate, but the A's would not. It would still be a breach of contract. And so there's a possibility that they could renegotiate a much lower fee for the 3-year window, with the potential of, like, again, proving that you're a baseball town, proving that you can support it, and that you're one of the next relocation places, especially with the A's gone in Oakland. So, and I would like it to be the Sacramento A's. I think that makes more sense.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I would definitely hate that way less. Like, I would still hate that they left Oakland, but it would be with a lot less vitriol than now.
Baseball is my first love.
Yeah,
like,
same.
Oh no.
What?
The Warriors assistant just passed away from
Oh my God.
someone in the chat. Oh.
God damn, man.
I don't know the word. I'm not seeing that. But,
yeah, it's
so
wait on that. $90 seconds.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Yeah, we're gonna wait for that.
But we'll definitely keep an eye out. So
yeah.
Thanks for letting us know. All right, 10 seconds. Here we go. Thank you for that. Taking you right up to noon. I'm Kyle. He's James. At noon, we will give way to D-Lo and KC. I believe D-Lo will be in here hanging out with us for the handoff coming up in about 30 minutes. So stay locked in for that. Pascal Siakam. It came down yesterday via The Athletic, via Shams Charania of The Athletic, that the Pacers and the Raptors are not closing in on, but have discussed a deal involving Bruce Brown's salary filler and 3 first-round picks going from Indiana to Toronto in exchange for Pascal Siakam, who is due to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason. We've already heard reporting that Pascal Siakam isn't going to sign anywhere. He's not, or excuse me, let me rewind. He's not going to commit to signing anywhere. He could land with the Los Angeles Lakers or the Boston Celtics or the New York Knicks or whatever team. He is not going to commit to signing long-term to that team. He's going to test free agency.
It's breaking right now. They are finalizing a trade to send Pascal Siakam, Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, and 3 first-round picks to Toronto as we speak.
So it's just Bruce Brown, Nwora, and 3 picks?
Yes.
That salary works?
I don't know how the salary works.
Huh.
I haven't looked, but that's as of right now, that's Woj and Shams dueling banjos. Actually, Woj beat Shams by 13 seconds.
Wow. Congratulations
Yes.
to Woj on that one. So, real quick, that for now is our breaking news under. So Pascal Siakam is headed to the Toronto Raptors. I think we fall a little bit on different sides here.
Yeah.
I love this for the Pacers.
Oh, I think it's a good trade for the Pacers for sure. But if you can get the deal done, if you can bring him back,
sure.
Indiana is sending 2 2024 first rounders and a 2026 to the Raptors. So again, something the Kings could not offer at all.
Yeah.
They had an extra 2024, and it's kind of a funky pick. It's the worst of like 3 different teams' picks. I looked at it last night, and then their own pick. I don't mind this trade for them, but it's just a high risk,
no doubt,
situation because you're giving up 2 first-round picks this year and then in 2026. I don't love this year's draft, but it's still an NBA draft, and there could be players. There's always players in every draft. But I mean, like good players, but this is one of those trades where you're putting it all out there. I really like Bruce Brown as well.
No doubt.
And for me, like talk about you lose OG Anunoby and you replace him with 2 players. But now this is sort of an OG Anunoby type player who's not nearly as good.
Yeah, kind of off brand.
Yeah,
OG,
but still a really solid player. So
Pascal Siakam is a good defender. And that has been Indiana's problem all year. They are number 1 in the league in offensive rating at 122.1, which is a bananas number. But in defensive rating, they're 26th. They're a they're a positive 2.1 net rating, which is 11th in the league, despite leading the league in offensive rating. And the reason I love this for the Pacers is, like you said, it is high risk. And the odds that he signs with Indiana long term, probably not great.
Okay.
Just from a city standpoint. But again, you don't know until he hits free agency. You see what other offers are out there. Indiana can sign him to the most money. And I think that will certainly play a role. I haven't looked. I don't know how many teams are going to have cap space to go sign him to a huge deal.
There's a handful of teams, but again, it's got to be the right team who's willing to put that money into a 30-year-old guy. I mean, the reports this morning is that Toronto had informed Pascal Siakam that regardless, they would not be offering him the Supermax, which is something, again, I think that the Kings probably said as well.
Yeah.
Like, we would love to have you, but we're not giving you the max.
Right. Not guaranteeing that.
Yeah, the max. I mean, 5 years at 250. That's a lot.
It's tying up a lot in one player,
especially in year 5 when you're paying him like close to $60 million a year.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money, and so I don't blame the Kings for bowing out of this because the risk reward for them just wasn't there.
Totally.
Now, I'd also point out that the Pacers are in a much different position when it comes to salary. They've got Miles Turner under contract for a good amount of good chunk of change. Tyrese Halliburton, his extension, I believe, kicks in next year. So he'll make like $28 million.
Yeah.
But they don't have that other guy who's making an extreme amount of money.
Yeah.
And what I told you, Kyle, is I look at this for them. It's their Sabonis deal. It is. It's the deal that they're making to go get a player like Sabonis that can be the second best player on their team next to Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
And for that, it makes sense for them. With the Kings, it's just so hard to do that when you're talking about another $40, $50, $60 million salary.
Yeah.
Because 3 years from now, 4 years from now, you're totally cooked.
Yeah.
You're the Warriors who are paying $186 million in luxury tax.
And Siakam, I don't think was going to be the piece that put them over the hump to win a title this year.
No,
which is what maybe makes that worth it.
Yeah, you can't take that risk for this year thinking that
Yeah.
it's going to make you a title contender
Yeah.
at all. I mean, that's
Mhm.
really tough.
Yep.
You had a stat that I thought was really incredible from The Ringer.
Yeah. Yeah. Zach Cram of The Ringer wrote this piece today. He's going through and he's talking about the DeJounte Murray specifically was who he was talking about, but he laid this out. Only 4 championship teams this century have added a player via in-season trade who went on to average at least 20 minutes per playoff game. It was the Bucks in 2021 with PJ Tucker, the Raptors with Marc Gasol in 2019, the Spurs with Nazar Muhammad in 2005, and the Pistons with Rasheed Wallace in 2004. It's the only 4 times that a team has made an in-season trade, won a title, and had the player they acquired play 20 minutes a game in the playoffs. It just doesn't happen that often.
Mm.
So I think that I don't think the Kings looked at that specifically, but I think if you're the Kings, that highlights why you're not going to go jeopardize your future potentially for a player who you've said it before, and I agree with you. If I'm betting over or under half an All-Star game for Pascal Siakam the rest of his career, I'm taking the under.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm taking the under
And
on
that's
that.
$50 million for a guy who's not going to be an All-Star.
Well, that and Kyle, what I've told you too, I would rather Kyle Kuzma, who is who isn't as good a player,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not that far off.
Yeah.
He's not a horrible player, and he's
Mhm.
not, but he's the same type, sort of,
Yeah.
like in the same ballpark,
Sure.
and especially for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
At like as far as salary, at
Right.
like a 60% discount on what you're gonna have
Mhm.
to pay for him.
Yeah, it's Kyle Kuzma plus the players you get to either sign or keep because of his salary versus Pascal Siakam minus the players that you'll have to not sign or lose because of his salary.
Yeah, it's in year 3 of that deal. Kyle Kuzma is down to $19.5 million,
Crazy affordable for
and
a good player.
Siakam is up to $53 million. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh wait, what have we done?
Yeah.
That $24 million can go to a lot of different assets.
But
But
if you're Indiana, I love this.
Mhm.
Like push your chips in. You are going toe to toe with Milwaukee every time you play them. You've gone toe to toe with Boston. If you think Pascal Siakam is going to get your defense up to middle of the league and keep you at a 122 offensive rating, then make a run. Why not?
No, I get it.
I'm here for it.
I'd even say like the one downfall for them, man, the East is a lot more difficult to get to the top than the West.
Yeah, no doubt. That's true.
Like, I mean, the Kings might be a major piece away from competing with the Denver Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
The Pacers are not one piece away from contending with the Bucks or the Celtics or the 76ers. They're just not.
I think they're like 3-1 against the Bucks this year.
Yeah.
I mean, anyways, I love it. I'm here for teams being aggressive and trying to win championships.
That's right.
So, anyways, Pascal Siakam is going to the Pacers. That was literally during the break. It broke. I didn't see that.
It broke as you were talking. It was like 32 seconds ago. I'm looking. It's like it just happened.
What was so funny is I teased going to the break, like Pascal Siakam on the move. We'll tell you where next. And at the break, I'm going, that was stupid. He's not actually on the move.
Then he's on the move.
Like literally as
he moves.
Kyle. I spoke it into existence. I have $1 million in my bank account.
Eesh. I'm just looking that there are more reports now. That it's possible that the Warriors assistant has passed away. So it's just absolutely tragic.
Man. All right. Well, we'll hopefully that's wrong. But
yeah, sorry to kill the mood going to the break. But
multiple reports coming out now.
Yes.
That I want to make sure I'm pronouncing his name right here. That Dejan Milojevic has passed away. Those reports coming out now as a Warriors assistant. The Warriors Jazz game tonight has been postponed after he suffered a heart attack at a team dinner last night. We will have any confirmed updates on that. We will bring them to you here on ESPN 1320. And now we need to break. There's no real transitioning out of that. So we will be right back.
Yeah, sorry to be a downer there at the end of the segment. Eurohoops.net is now reporting it.
Jeez.
Yeah. 46 years old.
Damn, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Eurohoops has confirmed it. It's tough. Tough that half the NBA is like enthralled with a trade, and while that's happening, something else tragic is happening. Yeah. Ugh. What? Woj now?
Woj.
Yeah, Woj. Yeah, sorry, I got a text at the same time. I just got confirmation. Pascal Siakam is excited about the deal to the Pacers and expected to be eager to work out a new contract with the franchise this summer. What? Well, again, it always comes down to that right there. Yeah. Yeah.
So they postponed the game tonight. The Warriors play Friday, but then they don't play again until next Wednesday.
Mm.
Damn.
I'm intrigued to read up on some of this stuff. I'm not sure if the Kings are even mentioned in the write-ups.
All right, 10 seconds. All right, final segment here at noon. We will hand it over to D'Lo and KC. Mentioned it right before the break, but then during the break, confirmation came down that Warriors assistant coach Dejan Milojevic has passed away. He suffered a heart attack last night at a team dinner. He was hospitalized. He was operated on, but he has passed. So our thoughts are with his family and with the Warriors organization.
Mm-hmm.
Their game against the Jazz tonight has been postponed. They were in Utah. It's unclear about Friday's game against Dallas and whether that will go on as scheduled. I'm sure there'll be some news coming out from the NBA about that over the next few hours in the next couple of days. But yeah, thoughts, prayers are with his family and with the Warriors and anybody who is impacted by that. That's a tragic loss. Man.
Yeah, sad day. Yeah, no other way to put it. It's tough because when you're you're part of a basketball franchise like this. Like, it becomes such a family. You spend so much more time with the team than you do with your own family during the season. And so it's just really, really tough to see something like this happen. You know, and especially for the family, you know, absolutely tragic.
Yeah. So, all right.
All right.
Awkward transition.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So Pascal Siakam is headed to the Pacers. Bruce Brown, and who's the other player going with him?
Nwora, I believe, and there's rumors of a second team. I mean, a potential third team. The first round picks involved are 2024s, which are, of course, the Pacers own, as well as they have another pick that is the worst of the Utah Jazz, Houston Rockets, Los Angeles Clippers, and Oklahoma City Thunder. So not a super valuable pick. Actually, neither of those picks are super valuable. It looks like you're getting 2 20s picks around that, and then a 2026 first round pick in the deal.
So go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, like, if he wants to sign there, that's fine. It actually makes a very, very good deal for them if he signs. And he can be their centerpiece alongside Tyrese Halliburton for the next 5 years. That all makes sense. I like this deal for Indiana. I like it a lot more than I like it for Sacramento. Again, Siakam, the player, is one thing. Siakam, the contract demand, is a whole nother thing. And the Kings are not in a place where they can go out and get and pay another player like that, who's not like a guaranteed difference making all NBA type player. If you're going to pay max money for a guy and you're going to add another max money contract to what you already have, that player has to put you way over the hump.
Totally.
Indiana's not in that same exact situation. We always talk about how every team is in a different situation when they're looking to make a trade. They all have different motivations and all that stuff. Like, look, I think this is a good play for Indiana, and they have a great coach in Rick Carlisle, and they can build around Halliburton and some of their young talent, and they didn't give up a bunch of young talent.
That's it. That's just it.
Yeah. Although I do think they did take a step back this year. I believe that, you know, because switching out Bruce Brown right now for Siakam, they may not have the continuity pushing forward. It may take a little while to get Siakam up to speed in what they're doing there, because it's just totally different style of basketball.
It's putting a lot of faith in Tyrese Halliburton, right? You're the point guard, you're the great distributor, you facilitate and get everybody involved. So this is on you to get this guy acclimated into this high octane offense.
Yeah. Well, that and Kyle, I think it should be noted that if you're Pascal Siakam and you're looking at the two situations, number one, I'd much rather live in Sacramento than Indiana. That's just my own personal.
Sure.
But if you're Siakam and you're looking at the opportunity and you get to, number one, play with the best assist man in the game, but on top of that, you also get to be like either their number one or number two scoring option.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good situation for you. And it's better than the situation you're going to get in Sacramento, where you're going to be competing for that with Domantas Sabonis and eventually with Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
And so, like, the Kings just are built different than Indiana.
Yep.
And so, to me, as a player, I think it's not like a slight on Sacramento. The opportunity is probably better.
Yeah. It's tough to it's tough to sit here and go, yeah, no, the Kings, after the way they lost last night.
Yeah.
And going like, Pascal Siakam,
No,
it definitely would have helped.
And I'm not blowing it off and saying that.
I know that. It's just funny juxtaposing that against the conversation we were having earlier about the loss last night.
Yeah. I fully understand, and I get what why he fits and everything else in Sacramento. I'm an advocate of Pascal Siakam in Sacramento, but the contract situation was always going to be rough. And
for sure.
And what you have to give up, and if you can't guarantee that he's signing back, that's tough. And if you're guaranteeing he's signing back, but it's $250, that's a lot. So yeah, I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I thought for sure that a guy like Benedict Mathurin or Aaron Nemhard or somebody like that was going to go in that deal, and
Yeah.
They get to retain all their dudes and
Yeah, that's kind of a small. Although, like again, Bruce Brown has been a difference maker for them.
yeah,
Like,
no,
straight up.
for sure. He's still only, how old is he?
27, 28.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, almost. Oh yeah, that's right. Me and him share a birthday,
Oh,
August 15th.
you and Bruce Brown.
We're to Leos. Yeah, he's 6 years younger than I am. That's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he's a good player for sure, and he's not just a super easy guy to immediately replace. But on the other hand, you like some of the talent that Indiana has. It opens the door for, I think, some of their guys to see increased roles, and certainly Pascal Siakam. And you know what? Maybe he helps them enough defensively that they become more of a threat in the East instead of, a first or second round exit.
You certainly just opened a window for yourself over
Mhm.
the next couple of years.
I mean, ideally, yeah. Hey, Nick Wagner wrote a piece on ESPN. I want to shift gears to football just real quick. A lot of good injury news for the 49ers yesterday. Dre Greenlaw, Logan Ryan, and Cleveland Ferrell were the only players out of practice. Greenlaw and Ryan are both expected to return to practice today. Christian McCaffrey was a full go. George Kittle, Trent Williams was out, but he was resting. Good injury news all around for the 49ers. Nick Wagner and ESPN wrote a piece about Brock Purdy and just kind of how he's gotten to this point and the adversity he's faced and, some of the mental hurdles he's had to get over and this and that. One of the anecdotes that Purdy shares in this story is that during this past offseason, Shanahan sat him down and said, hey, you're the starter in 2023. Once you are healthy, it's not Trey Lance, it's not Sam Darnold, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
asterisk.
Tom Brady wants to give it a go. And I know it's been speculated on, and I know it's been every time Tom Brady was even mildly available, it was like, well, he grew up in the Bay Area. He was at the Catch game in January of 82. He was there. Tom Brady, big Niner fan. Here's this photo of him in a Niner jacket. Again, no, we know. It's just wild that they would consider like that was it. Not Sam Darnold, not Trey Lance, the former number 3 overall pick. They don't get to compete. But if Tom Brady wants to come here, 46-year-old Tom Brady, by the way.
Wow.
And hella 46, turned 46 in August.
Yeah. Not a single 46.
Yeah.
Unattached 46-year-old.
That's a good point. No, but so at first I was like, this is crazy. Why would they do that? He was clearly not the same player with the Bucs. But then you go look at his season last year with the Buccaneers, and he was still really good.
The season before that, he was MVP and got robbed.
He was incredible.
He was spectacular.
He had more. I tweeted this last night. Tom Brady had more passing yards between the ages of 35 and 40, 36 and 45. So in the 10 years between 36 and 45 than Joe Flacco had in his entire career.
That's wild.
Insane. Totally insane. So my question was, I think Brock Purdy's good, but I temper my enthusiasm a little bit of him in a vacuum as just an individually great Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson level player. I don't think he's there. But I also wonder if the 49ers would have been better if Tom Brady was their quarterback.
Oh.
And it sounds insane because of course he's the GOAT, but also he's 46.
Yeah.
Behind a not great offensive line in an offense that doesn't have an awesome drop back passing game. I
think he would have just brought suitcased his guards and brought them with him. Hey, I'm still going to play. Hey, who wants to join me in San Francisco? And a bunch of guys have been like, okay, yeah, I'm in. Yeah, let's get the band back together.
It's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. Man, at first I was like, no way. 46-year-old Tom Brady, not a chance. No way that they're better. Maybe they're about the same.
Yeah.
But then I did a small bit of digging, and I think they would have been better if Brady wanted to give it a go with them.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm in. Like the idea of that, like at the beginning of this season. Like, sure.
This is the last time we're ever going to talk about this, by the way.
Yeah, it should
Tom
be.
Brady to the 49ers was such a sports talk radio thing for a couple of years.
Yeah, and you know, at the
I
same
just wanted to
point,
give it one final send off. Thanks to Nick Wagner's piece.
it would have been really fun to see like what that would have looked like, and also to give Brock Purdy a year to heal and to get ready
to learn under Tom Brady.
Although that didn't seem to ever really help anyone else. So.
No doubt.
Just saying.
I'm fascinated by the idea of what a Shanahan Brady mind meld would have looked like.
Yeah.
Does it even work?
Or if you like Tom Brady with that running back? What?
Oh, dude. What? Christian McCaffrey would have had 146 receptions.
Oh.
He might have set records as a pass catcher.
Wow. Yeah. No, there's a good shot. And the tight end, like Kittle.
I think
Kittle
would have been better.
Feasted.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. But would Ayuk have ever developed? I don't know, because that's one thing Tom Brady never. I mean, slot receiver, sure, but yeah. Interesting side note: the Indiana Pacers were actually under the salary cap coming into today at $130 million. And so with Bruce Brown's contract, and you know Bruce Brown got paid. He makes $22 million this year, but he has a $23 million team option for next year, which is crazy. That the team can just walk away from that. But yeah, that's pretty big. So they were able to get that deal done, and I think David, let me see, where's it? Nawara, $3 million. Nawara. So yeah, that's how they were able to pull off that deal. Which still, I'm not sure how that salary totally makes sense, but sure enough, they were able to do it.
Last thing before D'Lo comes in here for the handoff, D'Lo and KC fame, they're coming up at noon. Mike Brown, the fine came down yesterday.
Oh yeah,
50 G's for his post-game film session where he diagrammed what plays he was upset with by the officials. And I watched it, and I tried to help Mike. I did. I tried to help out. I went, you know what? This is tasteful. He's showing exactly what he's upset about. He's not just ranting. He's not just out here like
it's a complete crap.
He wasn't just saying all that. He's not saying shame on the league. He's just going, hey, I just want a fair interpretation of the rules. I just want to be communicated with.
He brought props.
He brought props. He had the whole thing. I was like, hey, you know what? This is about as tasteful of way. He said the refs did a great job. I was like, yeah, maybe he avoided some. Nope, 50K.
I would have liked
on the table.
Next time, if I'm here, if I'm Mike Brown, I'm bringing out marionette puppets, and I'm like illustrating it with puppets.
There you go.
Like,
you can't find somebody for puppets.
You see his arm up. You see his arm up. His arm is up. One hand is high. The other hand is bent and in front of him.
Damian Barling's here of D'Lo and KC. They're coming up here at noon. A tough one for the Kings last night, man.
Yeah, it is. Well, first of all, send some love to the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely tragic.
That story's tough.
Yeah.
Tough. Yeah, it was a bad loss. It's difficult. I don't know what to say at this point about this team. They're finding different ways to lose games. Like in the last 3 games, they get blown out by Philadelphia. They lose an incredibly competitive buzzer beater game against the Bucks, but a game that they were in firm control of. I know this phrase is silly, but like they were in control of whether they won or lost.
Yeah.
With one of the most fundamental things that you do on a basketball floor on the free throw line. And then to watch what happened last night, I just shook my head. It's like, this is incredible. They blew a 20-something point lead in 6 minutes. Man. Like they threw the ball out of bounds repeatedly. They showed no urgency. They just stopped doing everything that got them that 22-point lead. And, whether it's mental toughness, whether they're soft, whether they're entitled, I don't know what it is. I don't know what to say about this basketball team anymore. We're going to spend 4 hours trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But They're in the play-in now for the first time. They've slipped out of the top 6.
Yeah.
They've flirted with danger for too long. They've relied on teams like the Pelicans losing. Now you got a team like Phoenix who's starting to creep up on them. You've put yourself in a position where, now you at some point you're going to have to string some wins together.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you're going to have to win some games that you didn't. This isn't a team that's going to miss the playoffs in terms of the postseason. Like they're not going to miss the top 10.
Right. Yeah.
But they could very, very easily be a team that has to win in the play-in tournament to get back to the playoffs.
Yeah, but if they don't fix something, for sure. I think last night, and James and I talked about this a lot, and I'm interested to get your thoughts on it. Last night, so much of it to me was A, Domantas Sabonis not being involved late, and B, to me, that's where he has to demand the basketball. Like he has to be the guy who says, "Hey, Kevin Durant is a good defender." This is not to say that Kevin Durant is bad, but Domantas Sabonis can get him into the post and move him.
Mm-hmm.
He should be able to get easy buckets in a spot where there were so many times last night where, okay, they cut it to 12. It's like, okay, Kings get a bucket and a stop, they're good. Is it a bucket? Okay, they're done. Okay, bucket, maybe a couple stops and you're good. And they just never got the bucket.
Keegan Murray got an offensive rebound with like a minute left, a little over a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, they were up 3 at the point. I was like, that's it. Okay, settle down, take time off the clock. You get a basket, you're fine. This sucks. To be clear, this is terrible, but you're going to win this game and it's fine.
Right.
And De'Aaron missed another. I don't even think he took. He might have taken a 3. It might have been a long 2. But De'Aaron, got the clock down to 5 seconds, took a shot. They missed and wound up the way that it wound up.
Yeah. No, I think
you need more from your second best player in that spot.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to.
I just think the adjustments weren't there. And it can be, at some point, you have to put on your big boy pants as a player and make the adjustments on the court yourself. It can't all be about what's happening, with your coaching staff at the moment. And look, I'm not saying that Mike Brown wasn't coaching because he was, but if they go with 5 shooters and Domantas Sabonis races down on the defensive end and goes down in the post, you're done. You're cooked. It's over. The possession's over. They're moving too quick. They're down too many points. They're coming right down and firing, and no one is guarding somebody. Somebody's wide open because your big ran down waiting for another big man to go fight him in the post.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to. And then again, we didn't see some of the adjustments on the offensive end, or again, Sabonis in that situation, go down on the block, get all the way down on the block and just dominate them.
It's not what they do.
But it's also, it's not even what Sabonis didn't even try that. It's not that he failed to go down and go post up. He didn't even go try. And it's like the mindset didn't shift, that they went small, and the way to beat a small team is to do this, this, and this. Like when a team goes into a zone, and the Kings tried that for 2 seconds, and it was like, oh, no, no, what are we doing here? When a team goes into a zone, Domantas Sabonis knows the first thing to do is run to the free throw line, put his hands up, and destroy the zone. Like he's a zone breaker. But in this situation, they didn't catch on to what the Suns were doing. The pace got frenetic and out of control.
Yep.
The fans were fully involved. It became like a hostile environment where you're watching a lead slip away. They have the moment where Fox is yelling at one official and Domas is yelling at another, and a guy goes right down for a wide open dunk on the other end. And Kevin Huerter's like, come on, man, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So there were some mental breakdowns. But I was telling Kyle, these are games that you can learn from. You can't learn from the Philadelphia game. You can't learn from losing to bad teams.
Well, at some point, you can learn from something, but at some point you've got to execute it.
That's
right. If I learned, I learned chemistry, I can't execute it. You've got to be able to execute what you learn, and that's why Mike's press conference. It's funny. It's haha. The screen. Hey, give me the video. Let's show the video. That's fine. Privately, you had to have a completely different discussion with your team privately.
Yeah.
Like, hey, that I'm gonna take the fine for that, but I need everybody to see what we're dealing with.
Yep.
You in this locker room, you need to make free throws and stop turning the goddamn ball over in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that right there, they didn't learn. How many turnovers in the fourth quarter yesterday? More turnovers in the fourth quarter yesterday than the entire game.
Yeah, and Domas had he missed a free throw in crunch time. With 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left.
So if you're not executing, are you really learning? Like, what did you really learn from the Bucks game at this point?
Yeah, but I would say that's one game. That's one game to the next. That's a 3-day stretch.
That should be the freshest. If I cram for a test the night before, that's my best shot at passing. Now, if the test is a week away, man, I might have forgot something on the way. A new song came out. I memorized those lyrics. God knows how long I was on TikTok. I was tweeting. I was watching games. I might have forgotten what I studied. It was 2 nights later, and they couldn't execute in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It's becoming a problem for this team.
Yeah.
It's not becoming a problem. It is a problem.
8 turnovers in the fourth quarter, 6 the rest of the game.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Really bad.
My
Really,
bigger
really
my
awful.
bigger concern is getting just mollywopped by people. Like, stop getting thumped. I'd much rather see this where you can actually use the game footage. The other ones where this team doesn't show up, those are way more concerning to me. And I get it. They need to be better, but you need to be better the fifth game of a 5-game road trip. That you need to be better, like, against 3 really good teams. I get that, but at the same time, like, I would prefer a tight game that you found a new way to lose over not showing up, which this team has done way too many times this year.
Yeah, I guess.
At least they showed up. They just didn't show up in the last 5 minutes.
Well,
Yeah,
it's great. All right, hey,
Yeah.
participation trophy.
Yeah.
If you're a team that wants to win games, if you just want to show up
Yeah.
and not be the 2019 or 2020 Kings, well, fine. I'm all for it. But if you had the nerve to talk about playoffs in training camp, you had the nerve to talk about championships, being a
Yes.
contender in training camp. You've moved the bar a little bit for yourself. Now, if you want to backtrack, that's fine. Backtrack. But at this point, I'm not applauding them for not being for not being the 2019 Kings anymore.
Yeah, they're better than that.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta
Better
be.
than that. All right. Anyways,
Standing on business.
Standing on business.
that's what they're going to do next on D'Lo and KC. We've been the Insiders, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. See you tomorrow.